What's up, everybody? Welcome to the unofficial, official Beloit Alumni Association Board Giving Day broadcast. Happy Giving Day, everybody. Appreciate you all for joining us. This is exciting. We're trying new stuff. We're tinkering and testing all over the place. So appreciate everybody jumping in. Feel free to throw some comments in the chat. Whether you're watching from Facebook, I think we're over on LinkedIn. If LinkedIn is up, I know LinkedIn was down earlier today. Coming out on YouTube for sure. So lots of exciting places for you to watch and join our little Beloit community today. So excited to have everybody here. Action-packed agenda. We got a couple surprise guests. We got a little game in the middle. Plenty of stuff to get underway. Want to start off before we get into the activities with giving a little shout out to some of the alumni board members that are here. So we have a few of us that are going to be around in the chat. Lucy, who's our vice president, who's been really involved in setting everything up. Lucy, I'm going to throw you on stage very briefly. Welcome to the stage. Everybody say hi to Lucy.
Hi, everyone.
Lucy's been the mastermind behind this whole operation. We're just going to, folks, get ready. We're popcorning everybody. Next up, we have Linda. Linda, say hi to everybody. Linda, class 1970s, been involved in a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
Next up, thank you, Linda. Kevin.
Okay, just
Kevin, class of 87.
Looking for squirrels over here.
Well, let us know if you find any. In the chat, if you see some squirrels, feel free to let us know. We also have Lirio.
Aloha, everybody.
Lirio's been on the board with us for a few years, class of 86. We have a few other folks that we will show you, that you will see as they arrive. So look forward to seeing more of those. If you have questions, throw them in the chat. Well, we all are here just to talk about Giving Day. So let's talk about Giving Day. Let me pull up the page and check in on where we are at thus far. Well, hold on. Let's give it a hard refresh. Give it a Control-Shift-R. See what we're cooking with over here, folks. 642 donors. That is awesome, awesome stuff. We still have a little bit of work to do to get to our goal of 1,100. So anything you can give helps. Even just $1 matters a lot. That we have that donor number. We got a lot of really generous donors who have donated a lot of money and a lot of challenge gifts that are still in the play. So if anybody needs the link, Lucy just posted it in the chat. You can go over here, scroll around, look at different donors, watch a video about some of the Res Hall updates that the team is working on and trying to raise money for. We have a few matches that are still in play. Shout out to a anonymous alumni couple from the early 1970s. A match up to $100,000. We have $19,000 left on. Nick Mishler, class of 2014. So that's just for you 2014 heads. I know everybody is turning 2014. We're talking roughly 32, 33 years old. People are hitting right in the prime giving age. So we would love for people to be able to jump in. Lucy made a match for 20 donations. We love that. We're going to get more and more donations as the evening goes on. Some 2006 action, some between 90 and 99 action. Lots of good stuff. You can scroll down the About section as well here and read all about the Res Hall Rehab project, how to maximize your gift, anything that you can do to inspire others. Share hashtag Res Hall Rehab. I'm sure that is trending on Twitter as we speak. Some other fun stuff. I mean, look, we can see good stuff about the alumni board. We got updates all through. We hit about halfway to our donation goal about a few hours ago, and we got half to get there. You can also, on this page, go down to the donors section and see everywhere people have donated from. So, folks, we have 2 missing states. If anybody knows anybody from Idaho, or I believe this is Nebraska. We had some discussions earlier. We got Nebraska and Idaho are our 2 big holes in the map. So if anybody knows anybody from those 2 states, bring them in. Would love to see 100% participation on this map. Also the world. Shout out, we got a donor from India, got some donors from Thailand, Portugal, Italy. Shout out to Jordan. You don't expect to see a lot of Jordanian donors, but we got them. So this is really, really exciting stuff. It's great to see how international our alumni base are and how wide our generosity has spread. You can mess around the class leaderboard too. See individual class years, who has raised the most. Let's see, a lot of love from the 60s, a lot of good stuff from 1967. That's a heck of a number. 70s, a lot of activity. Kind of scroll through, find your class year. If you got a class year before or after you, it's a great another reason to be able to just have that little competitive spirit. See if you can put somebody over the edge. I know I've been keeping my eyes on the class of 2015 all day long to make sure that I can keep 2016 just one notch ahead of them. So lots of exciting stuff here. So again, goal is 1,100 donors. We are at, what are we working with? 642. Let's refresh and see if we have any more. You never know. Haven't got any more in the last couple minutes, but that's okay. We got another 53 minutes of activities ahead of us. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step in the agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Tim and Kevin from the Alumni Board to talk about our next special guest.
All right. Wait for Kevin to join. Hello, everyone.
Go ahead, Tim. You roll into this.
I think we actually alluded to on Facebook, at least, who our special guest is. So why don't we go ahead and do the reveal?
Dun, dun, dun.
Hello,
President Boynton. Good to see you.
good to
Again.
see you, Kevin.
And boy, it is. I tell you what, I was going to embarrass you, but I'll hold off.
All right, and at least for me, I've got spinning wheels, so not good.
For some reason, Tim's getting a little connectivity issues here, so I'm going to roll with it. But I had some fancy shirts that were brought out, limited edition, at your inauguration.
Yeah.
And I was concerned because they look a little cultish, but I'm okay with that because that's the guy you are. And I think that what we see in our new president, our newest president at Beloit, is really I'll say quite a character, and with a lot of character, and it certainly is a different style that you carry. Your gravitas certainly present in a very different way than what a lot of our alumni are used to in a president at Beloit. So I'm not going to go into any of your deep biography or any of those things, but certainly it is an honor and privilege to have you with us tonight. I know your time is limited. We'll respect that. Ask you a few questions. Tim will probably be back on here, but I was told that I have to ask the serious questions and Tim gets to ask the fun questions. So
Okay, so hang on, Kevin, because we're talking about reveals, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm in the president's house right now, and as you can imagine, my evenings are filled with all sorts of wonderful activities, and I have two other people, and I hope this jacks up the giving rate because it's not just me in my house right now. Look at this. Look at this. Emily Eagle, class of
2006.
and Elliot Anderburn, class of
2005.
Look at that.
Welcome, people. Fantastic. So this is go ahead.
So Kevin, here's the Emily Eagle is one of our executive in residence. She was here with us in the fall semester. She's come back for this week to help students and, in fact, us, faculty, staff, be better at our jobs. That's Emily's job, is to make us better at whatever we do, right, Emily?
Yeah. So this week I'm leading a couple facilitation skills building workshops for staff and faculty, and I did one for students earlier in the week. So it's nice to see like this. I actually had one professor in the student group, and he said, "Wow, students have some of the same problems faculty do," and I just thought that was just a testament to
right?
nature of what we're doing as we're working together, no matter if it's learning or if it's trying to educate.
Fantastic. Well, I just figured President Boynton would have groupies with him somehow at some level. So thank you so much for joining us. And another surprise.
I made it, or another dog too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought the surprise was that my internet actually worked.
No problem, Tim. I was just rolling into the intro with the president, and I did convey that I have to ask the serious questions. The other thing, before we do get started with a few questions, I do want to sort of set the stage with the president and suggest that maybe this could be the precursor to some more sessions like this, where we could spend a little time having conversations. We have about 15 minutes here, and I imagine we could talk for 15 days about some very relevant things that alumni would absolutely be interested in hearing about from from you as a person about your vision and about what's going on, state of the college type stuff. So would like to explore that at a later date. But that being said, I'd like to lead right into a quick question. Beloit, you've been around 6 or 7 years now. 10,
4 years, Kevin.
Just 4 years.
Like 6. You're getting old already, man. But the bottom line is a lot has changed even since you've gotten there. And a lot of our alumni are unaware of how vast the college footprint is now. So, from a perspective of recently, in the last 5 to 10 years, and even more recently since you've gotten here, tell us a little bit in about 3 to 4 minutes what's new at Beloit, program and facilities wise.
Okay, so we'll start with facilities. Of course, there's the Powerhouse, which amazing building, part student union, part workout facility, part track, part eating facility, part athletics. So on one side is the new natatorium, the new pool, and the other side is the field house, and in between is all the other events. So a wonderful space, cathedral-esque in its size and scope. It's just large. Wonderful space where students from all walks of life, athletes, actors, dancers, my people near my heart, nerds, all come right to the Powerhouse and mingle. And there's reasons for us to share in this kind of common mission that is called Beloit College. And so the Powerhouse, of course, if you haven't seen it, you need to get back to campus because it's amazing. Right, Tim?
I totally agree. Yep.
Okay. There's the Powerhouse there. There's a new science building. Of course, new is still, it's 15 years old. So it's before my time. But when you see the science building, it still feels very new. And so there's that building in the center of campus. The library. So many of you know we received a $9 million grant from the state of Wisconsin to renovate the library. And in the library, to get into programming, Kevin, is Impact Beloit, which is a new way of connecting, a mechanism to connect and integrate and collaborate with people in the region and local businesses to build out internship possibilities for our students and fellowships, to partner with regional organizations so that we actually help lift some of the weight off the community. At the same time, that community helps us meet our mission by allowing students to have these really wonderful experiences outside the classroom that integrate with the classroom. And so anyway, new library, it's on budget and on time. That's wonderful news, right?
Nice.
Set to open the middle of summer. And so we'll actually have 2 openings for the library. We'll have a community opening. So Impact will throw its doors open to the community during the summer when the fewer students are here. And when students arrive, we'll have a second opening for the community and the students to come and recognize the library. The library will still have that. I've always thought when I went in the library, it feels like a James Bond 1960s evil lair. Anyway, it'll still have that feeling. Is that all new?
People still lost from the 60s in that building somewhere.
That's right. Yeah. The construction, we've actually dug up and let some people out. Yeah. And then, there's still the Hendricks building downtown right next to Celeb. So Celeb, I tell you right now, that's getting some polish. If you haven't seen Celeb recently, downtown, that place is really rocking. And there's a lot of activity down there. There's a lot of reason for students to go down there. Kevin, you got something?
And for our acronym challenge people, what does CELEB stand for?
Let's see if it shows up in text.
Center for Entrepreneurship in Liberal Education, right? At Beloit.
At Beloit. Did anybody do it? I don't see.
For those Jerry Gustafson fans out there, and more recently the Brian Morello fans.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Eric, I'm gonna jump in and take a different track here. And is it okay if I call you Eric, or do I need to refer to you as Mr. President?
Oh yeah, Eric is fine. Tim, come on.
All right. So since I get to ask the the lighter questions, give us a fun moment. Like, what's your most fun moment since you became our president?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what it is? So inauguration day was a fantastic day. So every new president gets inaugurated, and it's more like a wedding than not. So it's actually not about me at all. It's about everyone else who attends the wedding, right? So the inauguration was everybody else, and we leaned into that. We had this party in the Powerhouse, and so Kevin, you alluded to this shirt, this cultic shirt with my face on the front. And so the deal is that we gave away these shirts to the first 150 students who would attend the inaugural bash. So an inaugural bash is probably unlike what most inaugurations actually involve. So inviting students to join in the celebration, right? We've got to be a whole campus. The vibe on campus has got to be everybody's loving and celebrating this place. And so the first 150 students would get this free t-shirt with me, with my face on the front. And the line out the bridge from the powerhouse was about 300 students long. And then so to answer your question, Tim, the fun thing is my son's 26, 25 years old, and he was here witnessing this event, and students were having me sign the t-shirts. And his mind was blown that,
famous, yeah.
Yeah, right. And, do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? Why is he signing your t-shirt? So that was a joyous event where I actually got to sign t-shirts as if I was Beyonce or something. I doubt Beyonce signs t-shirts anymore. But anyway, you get the
people for that. Eventually, you'll have people for that too. Okay. But yeah.
Oh, and look at this. This is it's baseball, softball season. So I have a baseball jersey with the number 12 on it. Let's get the. I can't think. I'm backwards.
Yeah, you got it. We
don't hurt yourself. You can see it.
All right, Kevin, what do you got for us?
Yeah, let me shift back into serious mode here, and I think that one thing that we see happening, and I won't get into the muck about it, but is the challenges facing all college, higher level institutions of learning, attendance wise. Getting people in the door type stuff. And a lot of that has to do with programming and uniqueness and what features draw people. Beloit's always been an innovator or perceived as somewhat of an innovator. The problem now is that the world is amuck with innovators. Everybody's innovating into this one sameness. Yeah. So Beloit we're turning some new leaves here. We've got some great new programs that are starting. You just mentioned one of them. And I think that, for our understanding as alumni, it's a concept we may have heard of, seen at bigger institutions, but for Beloit, it is fairly unique. So I'll let you, if you could talk a little bit about our new schools and the programming that really stands out in terms of what Beloit has to offer for new students in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So there are a bunch of headwinds, flowing against, higher ed is topsy-turvy to begin with. Headwinds facing down small liberal arts colleges. So here's what we know about Beloit. This goes way back. It's in the DNA, and the two people I'm talking to on this call, that we generate really successful people. We generate leaders, people who go out into their future lives and are able to run circles around others because they know how to think critically, they know how to communicate, they know how to collaborate, they're flexible. This is the kind of education that is the best kind of education for the world that students are currently inheriting. Kevin, but the problem is that people don't believe it. They don't buy it anymore. So we got to find a way to demonstrate that this kind of education you got to get yourself some of this, right? So we got to find a way to connect college to careers and professions, successful outcomes, successful futures, right? We need to make that bridge clear, demonstrable to anyone. So when I use the word demonstrable, I know I'm talking to Beloit graduates, right? Because they're able to understand language like that. So we want to make it clear that this is the kind of college that's going to generate, it's going to be this transformative, joyful time in these 4 years. And at the same time, it's going to be like a loaded spring that launches you into your future self. So how do we do that quickly and not just over 5 paragraphs or get someone, right? We need to find a way to get people in the door. So we're launching 2 schools. We launched 2 schools in January, a school of business and a school of health sciences, 2 traditional strengths at Beloit that talk about how this education connects to marketplace and outside of graduation. So let's go ahead and name and organize ourselves in the way the world organizes itself so we can call out that connection. We have 2 more schools that will launch in the fall, a school of environment and sustainability and a school of media and the arts. And so here's a way of gathering together the strengths at the college to demonstrate that this is the kind of college that's going to prepare you for your future. We're going to call it out in the way we organize ourselves. We'll still have departments and majors, all those are true, but it's a way of calling that out. And then we place those schools in signature buildings. So imagine a refreshed Pearson's. Everybody knows Pearson's Hall, this amazing building. Refreshed Pearson's, where the business school will be. Refreshed Hendricks building, where the media and arts will be, right? The School of Health Sciences in the Science Center, in one wing of the Science Center. So organizing ourselves in ways that burnish the traditional strengths of Beloit, at the same time, Kevin, calling it out in new ways, right? This is a college you need to come to. There's some other pieces of the puzzle. Let me just say, this is a day about Whitney. So it's that bit, that's a piece of the puzzle. It's the curriculum, it's the way in which we're preparing you for your future lives. But it's also, we're at residential college. You're gonna love living here. And we're gonna learn in every nook and cranny, which means that we need to have the residence halls up to a certain standard. It means we need to think differently about food. It means we need to think about the extracurricular experiences like athletics and internships. All that is woven into an entire experience that is irresistible. So let me stop there, Kevin. Is that?
No, I think that, thank you, because again, limited time. It's great to have, I think, that synopsis for people. I'm going to ask one more serious question. It has directly.
But I'm going to jump in first.
Oh, he's got a fun one. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
We got to go back and forth,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bad boy.
So I want you to stay on the topic of the colleges, and given that we're talking to alumni, just a couple of ideas you have on how do we engage alumni in helping make these colleges real?
Yeah. So here's the cool thing about schools is that, we do have, as many as 17,000 strong, this alumni network out there of people that want to see Beloit thrive and do well, and also want to see our students do well, right? So, we've always been a campus that's reached out to our alumni to ask for, giving back. And that giving back is mentorship, advising. But it's also been tough, Tim, because, as an alum, you might raise your hand, I want to help out. How you help out now looks really difficult because where do I place Tim and how do I use Tim and how do I bring him into the fold? Schools provide like a playpen or parameter, like guardrails. Oh, Tim is involved in this aspect of business. I can connect him to these kinds of students. And so schools allow us to curate the experience of alumni coming back to the college to offer particular kinds of expertise. So imagine people in professions within the business school, within finance, within sports management, coming back to mentor and advise our students, provide internship possibilities, fellowships, resume editing, any kind of coaching that can happen. Health sciences, the same thing. Media and the arts, we have all these people placed in really interesting ways. And in the sustainability track, and I can, Tim, just real quick to get serious with Kevin, is that I just went to Milwaukee this afternoon to talk to a Fortune 500 company who is deeply interested in partnering with us around the business school and the sustainability school. Ways of actually, partnering so that we can pull students into those careers, into this company, but also they would invest in this place. So it's an interesting way to talk about the value proposition of this education, that partnerships, both alumni and regional, is really special and important in organizing ourselves in this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like that of anything just seems like so unique for Beloit that we're actually engaging corporations and you're really getting out there. So I really appreciate that you're doing that for the college. Kevin, you.
Thank you, Tim, and I apologize for talking over you there. I have one last thing, and again, Eric, I know your time is precious here. Really, really appreciate your taking the time to visit with us here. Relevant to today and Giving Day and everything we've got going on. At the beginning of our show here, Cameron brought up the percentage of participation, and what I'd like you to do is kind of explain to people. I've always been a big person on simple participation, right? Whatever the level, participate. I've been a fan of that forever. It's great to see the college engaging in that. What does that number mean to Beloit College at the percentage rate?
So of alumni giving back to the college, even yes, that actually gets factored into a number of different kinds of ratings of the college itself nationwide. That's the first thing. The percentage of giving back, doesn't matter the amount, it's the percentage of giving back of the alumni pool. That one matters to the way in which the campus, the college is perceived nationwide, because it's actually a good litmus test for how people feel about the college once they've launched themselves into their careers. So that's a crucial part of it. We need alumni to come back and show the love of the college, because the love of the college actually matters to things like enrollment, matters to the financial health of the institution, even if it's $1, because it's going to matter in other ways. And, Kevin, you're the serious guy. There is serious challenges coming down the pike, right? We need to get our act together in order to find a way to make sure that the enrollment traction we have for this place continues. And so don't get me wrong, there's a lot of work to do, but this integrated plan we have going is designed actually to achieve that kind of enrollment traction. Percentage giving of alumni is one piece of that puzzle. It's one key way that alumni can actually help in meeting the mission of the college, at the same time finding financial health of the college as well.
Fantastic. I really appreciate the answer. Actually talking about that integrated plan that sets the stage for a future conversation, I hope.
Yes.
We're going to thank you and move on to our next important segment, which is trivia. You're welcome to hang out and help folks with trivia. It may challenge you a little bit more than those of us who have been around more than, a little time like you, but that's it. I'm going to be in the next segment. Tim, any last words for the president?
No, thank you, Eric. I really appreciate the time, and it's always insightful to talk to you. So appreciate that.
So I just want to give one quick shout out. So Kevin, you're involved. We emailed the exchanges last week about the business school and Janesville organization for high school students wanted to become involved in businesses.
DECA. Yeah, Wisconsin DECA.
Right. So the DECA. So note that you reached out to me, and then how long did it take me to respond?
Oh, it must have been at least 3 hours.
Okay.
Right. No, but we had a conversation. I really appreciate that. I think the connectivity and approachability is very pure and real, and we appreciate that. And I think that as more of our alumni base gets to know you, they'll understand that it's a new game at Beloit, and you're a big part of that, and greatly appreciate it. It bodes well for Beloit College and Beloit, the city. So thank you so much again for your time, and all the best. And we'll be talking to you real soon.
Yeah, and bring me back, and you want to talk shop, I can go into great detail around the plan. I'm pretty excited about it. We got a new vice president of enrollment. We got a new chief development officer. And so things are rolling.
All right. I'm going to put you on the spot, though. As you leave, give us one Ericism.
Yeah, so this is one that came up recently, is preparing the soil. Preparing the soil. So turning the soil, putting some fertilizer so the little green shoots can grow well. So preparing the soil.
Perfect. All
right.
right.
Very nice. Very nice.
We've got hundreds of those, you guys. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, sir.
Take care.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
All
Tim.
right.
Well, what are we rolling right into trivia then, Tim?
Yes, we're rolling right into trivia. And
Okay.
Tim, if you want to play along with us on screen, you can. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lucy Gray. I'm class of 1988, and we are going to do something a little interactive, and hopefully it will work. I've been working on a little trivia game for us, and you're going to need another device or another tab in order to do this. So you're going to put the trick here. I'm going to bring up a screen to show you what to do. You're going to go to menti.com, menti.com, and you're going to put in a code, which is 7262356. And when you do that, you will have joined the game. You can also use the QR code if you have a phone or an iPad, something like that, a tablet near you. You can also scan that code, and you should be able to get in there. And I see we've got at least 3 people who've hit the heart button on there. There's also kind of a back channel chat there too that's turned on, but you don't have to use that. We've got at least 6 people in there. Yay! And this code will be at the top of every screen. So if some reason you get bumped out or whatever, you can get back in with that code. The trick is to go to menti.com and then put in that code that you see at the top of the screen. And I also put a link into the chat that should also take you there. So I'll give you a minute to get it in there if that will help you. Thanks for coming, Karen. I see you are bouncing, but thanks for being here. I see other people in the chat. Okay. So we'll give everybody a minute here. Kevin, any final comments before we start going down the road of trivia?
There is no quiz on Monday. This is the quiz. But just little fun facts, and thank you, Lucy, A, for putting this together, and B, for allowing me to be part of it. We're just going to, there's 15 questions here from across the eras of, and I say eras of Beloit. So hopefully we have good representation from most of them. I don't think there's any from the very first eras, but certainly we do want to touch on different times at Beloit.
The 70s are represented through Linda Materna, who solicited questions from some of her friends. So I've used some of them, not all of them, but you may recognize some of them in here. So here we go. The first couple are just kind of checking in and seeing who's in the room. And so I'd like you to type in your city and state or country and tell us where you are. So I'm checking in from Northbrook, Illinois, just outside Chicago. I type in the name and I press submit, and look, there we are. So we've got somebody coming from Beloit, B-Town, Beloit, Portland, Northbrook, Palmdale, Nashville, Tallahassee. That's Philip. Chicago, Minneapolis, DC, Springfield. Wow, that's good. San Antonio. All right, so we've got 12 people checking in. We do not have prizes. Sorry, I didn't get that far this year, but we have next year we will. So we've got a nice crowd here that have joined in, and I think we're ready to go to the next slide. So we'll keep going. The next question is, what was your major at Beloit? Let's see what everybody majored in. And this kind of pertains to something that we've been talking about. Spanish, econ, art history, political science. I was an art history major, and I certified to teach elementary ed, which was not really a major or a minor. I think education is now a major. What were you, Kevin? What was your major?
I was econ.
Okay.
Economics. I spelled the whole word out, Lucy.
Oh, I'm impressed. It's the biggest one too. So I wonder if the biggest words in this word cloud are from the most responses from that. Okay. And I see somebody just joined us from Wilmette, Illinois, which is really close to me. Awesome. Okay. So you can keep going and answering this if we're going too fast for you, but we've got 22 responses. That's awesome. And then this is a quick question because I think this is pertinent to the conversation about the relevance of liberal arts. Has your chosen profession related to your major? Yes or no? We talk about a lot of this in the Beloit College alumni group on Facebook. And it's a kind of a hot topic. So, there's, I think the liberal arts education for me, I don't know, it taught me the critical thinking, the role of being an active citizen, I think came into play for me. How about you, Kevin? What has a liberal arts education done for you?
Well, I think that when, I'm one of those people that I came to Beloit because I was curious. I was set up to go to 2 different schools. And I was in Navy ROTC, and I somehow Beloit got me, and I was curious. So it really kind of grew from there. I'm still curious to this day, and I try to stay in that mode. So absolutely, Beloit allowed me to become more and more of what I already was.
To be a lifelong learner.
Yeah, very, that's an excellent way of putting it. Spoken like a good teacher, actually.
Okay. And this is my favorite picture. This is my friend Deborah Allen and who's now in Portugal. We were running through the dorms 2 years ago during Beloiter days, and I was wondering what everybody's favorite dorm was, since that's a theme tonight. What was the one? There was North, and what was the one next to North that had suites? Oh,
was that Aldrich?
No, other way. Next to it looked like North, but it was Haven. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm getting old. All right. And some of these may have changed too over the years. More about the people in the dorms, not the buildings. Aldridge, yeah. Brannon. I was a freshman in Brannon. I lived in Porter. Never lived in Chapin or Aldridge. Yeah. All right.
I could probably say I slept in most of these at some point or another, and that's not a whorish thing. I probably just passed out in the corners.
You were in Phi Psi when I knew you in college.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Okay, and then our last kind of taking the temperature question is there somebody who made a difference to you, faculty, student, whomever, during your college years? I think we should give like a nice shout out to some of the people who influenced us. And my, I want to say one of the people that made a difference and I still remember this, is Sharon Karstens, who I had for Women's Studies, and I really loved that class. And she told me, I had a lot of anxiety about writing papers and that sort of thing at this point in my life. And she told me to stop making excuses. And I needed somebody to tell me that. And I will never forget that. So I appreciate her telling me that. How about you, Kevin? Who's somebody that made a difference to your life in your Beloit years?
There is a long list of people, and I can immediately start. I mean, some of the unexpected ones. I think that if I were to mention John Winkleman, the impact he had on me, because as reviled as he was sometimes, he was one of the most level-headed advocates that any student could have. And organizationally, I think he had a lot on his shoulders. And considering the facilities and what he was managing, in retrospect, I have even more respect for him. So
I don't know if I could do that job as an adult. And we're going to be talking to someone who is the new John Lincoln.
But then you go into my obvious, Jerry Gustafson, Jeff Adams, Harry Davis. I mean, some of the highly revered academics at Beloit who tolerated me, Emil Kreider. I mean, just an amazing list. Even Bob Black. You and I were talking aboutB Black earlier.
He was a great guy.
He was. So I could go down the list. Bill Flanagan, of course. Someone mentioned Bill Flanagan, but holy cow! To this day.
And Richard Olson, I will never forget. For art history senior sem, we had to go to the Beloit auction and find something kitschy, and I didn't know what kitschy meant. And that was quite an experience. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about art, about being an artist from him as an art history major. We were required
that are coming up here, all obviously from an era. Most of them are Les McAllister. Wow, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people from several eras in here, right? Liz Peterson was still there when we. I think she was just tapering off when I got there in the early 80s, but still just amazing to this day. Some of the professors and the folks who are attending now are getting the same impact. It's a beautiful thing.
Marlon May. Yeah. And Barry White is still around. I saw him at Bob Hodges' memorial service. I think the best thing you can do for a teacher is to let them know that they made a difference, and whether it's an elementary school teacher or a professor. I don't know if you saw the video that I posted in the Facebook group about John Huss, class of '87, who's a professor at University of Akron, and they interviewed a student who talked about how Huss had made an impact on his life, and I think that is just like the best tribute you can give to someone. So.
Lucy, I do, if you don't mind, I want to mention something about, part of the conversation, one of the questions that Tim asked Eric and what's going on now, specifically like with the Tim Leslie, with Greg coming in and doing the sports marketing class. we have alumni who are now coming back and teaching at Beloit. And you can do this if you've got something to share. The college is really engaged. As an alumni board, we've been engaging. I know we've set up. Say again.
Laura is on the alumni board, who's an alum.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the programs where we come in and teach kids.
Oh, and Lirio's program with
everyone knows as a new, but Lirio's put together this program where we come in and do a day or two, and the alumni.
Board in the classroom.
Say again.
Board in the classroom.
Board in the classroom. Yeah, so you're welcome to come as an alum and participate in molding these minds.
Speaking of Lirio, I want to keep going pretty quickly because Lirio and Linda are due for the next season.
With more very important guests, so we better get this done.
So quickly, when was Beloit College founded? How's your basic knowledge of Beloit understood here? So right now we have one person who is saying around here. Let's get a couple more people in there.
Ready for people who need help? Look here.
We've got 6 people who voted. This is kind of fun. I'm going to put up the date and see if anybody's close. I'm going to press enter, and there's ding, 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 1846. Okay, what does the Beloit College motto mean? And you have 3 choices: light in truth, truth is light, true knowledge, and pure faith. What does our motto mean? Which I never knew when I was at Beloit. And the answer is, I'll give people a minute to vote on this one. I think everybody knows this except for me. And the answer is true knowledge and pure faith. Okay, we're going to cruise through these now. When did Beloit College become co-ed? If 1846 was its inception, which I think most people know, was it co-ed right away? I don't think so. Somebody's picking 1846. Maybe 1847. I don't see a lot of votes coming in on this one. Phone era. Everybody doing okay? Okay. And the answer is, we've got a few votes there, 1895. So it took a while before it became co-ed. That's interesting. I never just assumed it was always co-ed. And everybody in the 70s should probably know who this person is. Who was the 7th college president? She's the only woman to be president to date, serving from 1975 to 1980. Roxy Alexander, Martha Peterson, or Hannah Gray? And bonus if you know who Hannah Gray is. Yeah. I hope you like my shout out to Roxy Alexander. Everybody knows the answer to this one. It's Martha Peterson. Yay, Martha. Hannah Gray was the president of University of Chicago. Okay, this person graduated from Beloit College in 1901, and she became the first dean of women, and a dorm was named after her. And has special meaning for today. I should put the timer on these. And the answer is Catherine Whitney, our dorm that we're talking about today. Okay, this is something that Kevin didn't know. What U.S. president spoke in the field house in 1968? Looks
why do you have to throw me under the Beloit transit bus like that?
Sorry, Kevin. At least you didn't say John F. Kennedy, who died like 5 years before this. Yes, it is. It is Richard Nixon. Can you imagine? In this day and age. And then this is a historic event that the Delta Gamma sorority lost its national charter when it pledged an African American woman. What is the name of the sorority today? Is it Zeta Kappa Zeta, Kappa Kappa Gamma, or Theta Pi Gamma? And it was highlighted in this book that you see on the left. That's why the image is there. All right. And it looks like people know the answer to this one too. It's Theta Pi Gamma, which still is on campus. All right. Good job. We have some Thetas in the audience, I bet. Which book includes, and I got the answer wrong on this one. I forgot to change it. Sorry. Which is the book? If you pick, I'll tell you if you're right. Which book includes Beloit College for its impactful educational approach? And I knew this because I have college-age children, and this book was recommended to us. And they also do workshops around the country, or kind of meetups. And it is Colleges That Change Lives, but I marked the wrong answer. So good for you, all 10 of you who know that book. If you don't know that book and you have a college-age kid, take a look at it. It's excellent. Which famous bands have played at Beloit College? And this is a little bit of a trick question. You can pick two. And this question comes from Linda, I believe. I can't imagine seeing them playing at Beloit. We had some, do you remember any of the bands we had for Spring Day, Kevin?
Gosh.
I think there were some big ones, but not as big as
we got a number of good bands out of Chicago. Good blues stuff.
Oh yeah, Coco Taylor.
Coco Taylor, huge.
Yep.
Trying to remember outside of. I'm sure people could submit them in the comments.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and the answers are Frank Zappa and Jefferson Airplane. Pretty cool. And somebody probably knows the dates for those. I think it was the late 60s, early 70s. Truth or lie? The name of Beloit College's poetry garden is the Tom McBride Poetry Sanctuary. Beloit students set a world record for the longest game of Ultimate Frisbee in 2006. Beloit students set a school record for the number of quarter tap beers consumed in 1990. I had fun with this one.
Number 3, the year was actually 1985, and I was there.
That's funny. This is, I think I found this question in Wikipedia. I think that's where I got this little factoid, which I did not know. Okay, so the answer is it is lie, truth, lie. So the one true thing is Beloit students set a world record for the longest game of Ultimate Frisbee in 2006. So that's the results of there. Okay, so our alum.
Yeah, Phil Kramer, Soul Asylum actually played. I remember that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I thought like Oingo Boingo also played, or some band like that.
Ipso Facto played at a Beloit thing.
Okay. Who was the first African American to graduate from Beloit College?
Yep.
And she lived near the college, I read. And the other women that are listed here are other prominent African American women in the state of Wisconsin. And the answer is Grace Owsley. Which notable alumni was a naturalist? And if you don't get this right, I will be, you should all get this one right. Who was this naturalist, explorer, and director of the American Museum of Natural History, kind of like Indiana Jones type? It was, and I'm proud of you all. You're all getting it correct. It's not Fred Burwell.
I was going to throw Fred in there just to throw it off.
I threw him in there because he's also the, if you haven't looked at Fred's, he was the archivist at Beloit and knows more about Beloit than anyone else. And he has a lot of good articles to read on the Beloit website, Fridays with Fred. So Roy Chapman Andrews. Okay. This former editor of the Roundtable has a debut book entitled Milltown, which won the Rachel Carson Environmental Book Award in 2021. Nancy Hildebrand, Carrie Arsenault, Martha Williams. And I dug around the Round Table archives looking for names of women who worked on the Round Table. So that's, if you haven't looked at the archives, they're not all of them are there, but a lot of them are, and they're awesome. Lots of fun articles there. And this is somebody who's a contemporary of ours. It is Carrie Arsenault. Yay, Carrie. Name a Beloit actor who also had a famous brother. Which one of these guys also had a very famous brother? And this is a tricky one. This was tricky for Kevin. And my husband loves the show that this guy was on. He still watches the reruns, much to my chagrin. And this actor was on, do you know what show he was on, Kevin?
Dun, 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 dun. Mission Impossible.
No, he wasn't. That's the
What?
next one. He was on Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. I'm sorry, I screwed that up, didn't I?
Okay, it's all right. This one.
Oh.
Who was James Arness's brother?
And
The
it's not Tom Cruise.
actor I was mentioning before. It's not Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody knows who James Arness's brother was. And it's not Jim Arness. It is somebody with a completely different name. Must be a stage name. Anybody know? Fred Burwell. All right. I see somebody. That's good. Fred Burwell. Tom Cruise. Oh, you guys are funny. Okay. It is Peter Graves. All right. Fred Burwell, I think, should do it. Okay. Last section. This is sports. This Beloit alum graduated in 1951. He became the captain of the U.S. Olympic team, and he won the gold medal at the 1952 Olympic Games. Who is it? Casey Johnson, Ron Bontum, or Bill Napton? And I did not know this. This is a kind of a cool factoid, I think. Going back and forth here. All right. And the winner is Ron Bontemps. What beloved professor pictured here also served as the head coach of the women's tennis team in the 1980s and 1990s? Bob Ross, Bob Black, or Bob Hodge? This is a little tricky. And that's a classic picture of all of us in circa 1988, maybe. Or now 84, 85. And everybody is getting this right. I can't fool you guys. It is Bob Hodge. May he rest in peace. What year did Beloit win the Midwest Conference Basketball Championship? And we're almost done, so hang in there with me.
We have a couple people in the green room who are just waiting to chat with you all.
We're going to turn it over to Linda and Lirio in just a minute. All right. So, and the winner is 1968. And then what famous sport team practiced in the old field house in the 1980s? The Bears, the Bucks, or the Chicago Bulls? And they stayed at the now defunct Holiday Inn, I think, which is, I don't know, the Garden Hotel or something. And the answer is, Kevin, do you know the answer?
The Bulls.
The Bulls. All right, that was pretty cool. I guess the leaderboard thing doesn't work. So this is our last thing. If you want to get more involved with Alumni Association and help me do trivia next year, please fill out the form on Menti, and we'll get back to you and tell you more about what we do on the alumni board. We'd love to have you involved. I'm going to stop sharing right now. And Cameron, can you put our lovely next group on stage? And thanks for playing along, everyone. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Lucy.
Hello. Here we are, the lovely next group.
Hi.
Hello there, Randy, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry we got caught up in our trivia.
That's okay. That was fun.
Are you you're in the powerhouse?
I am. It's not a virtual background. It's real.
Wow.
But I'm not real. I'm a cyborg, actually. And
Yeah.
Randy, it looks like you're in your office or
I
something?
am in my office. I couldn't find Dan in the powerhouse. I was going to join him and I couldn't find him. So I ran back to my office. So yeah, I'm back in my office.
Well, that's very devoted. I'm sure you're getting extra points for that, right?
Thank you.
Lots of excitement. Linda, you wanna introduce yourself and Dan, and then hand it over to me?
Sure will. So I'm Linda Materna, as you can see, class of 70. And I want to welcome, first of all, Dan Schultz, who has been at Beloit for a while. He's served the college for some 10 years in various positions, including your role, which I didn't know, on the Powerhouse project. So kudos for that. It's really fantastic. And apparently, however, you did not go to Beloit. You went to
But my grandfather did and my daughter does, so I get some credit for that.
Okay. Well, I'll let that pass. But I actually did get my doctorate in Madison, so it's a great place.
Yeah.
And apparently, you were campaign manager for Jim Doyle.
That's right. I was in 2006. Yep, I'm a recovering politician.
It's a good time to not be in politics.
Right. Exactly.
Lirio, let me turn it over to you so you can introduce Randy.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you everybody for being here. I'm Lirio Hittel, also known as Ankriti Hittel. When I was at Beloit, I'm class of 86, Econ and International Relations major. And delighted to have Dan and Randy. And Dan's already been introduced. Randy, welcome. I understand you are new to the college?
Since September.
Wow, that's wonderful. And I'm told that you are originally from upstate New York and done your undergrad and graduate degree in New York. So
Correct.
But you didn't stay there. So it looks like you've got 25 years of experience in res life and higher ed and have worked at colleges in, New York, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Colorado, and now Wisconsin.
You got it.
And so it looks like you don't need to move back to Florida for the warm weather because you're in Wisconsin now and you'll have got
I like cold weather better.
Yeah. But it seems like it's been really warm there. So
it has.
So you don't need to go back to the warm weather or it's following you around.
Yeah.
So yes, welcome. And we look forward to chatting with you both. I know that we are over time, but since this isn't a TV show, we can just hog this for as long as we want. So we'll try not to do that, but we will also, try and at least get a couple of questions in for each of you. So Linda, I'm going to send it over to you first.
Got it. And you don't have to have sleeping bags, though. We won't stay that long. I wanted to start by asking you, in your role in development, what are the main reasons that Beloiters actually give to Beloit? And can you speak to this year's Giving Day campaign and its meaning for the college and for you?
Yeah, so I think people give to Beloit, Beloiters give to Beloit because they believe in the institution. That doesn't waver, right? And I think people give more when they believe in the leader and they believe in the plan they're putting together. So, the level of financial support goes up and down over different years. But if we're doing our job in development and helping Eric Boynton do his job, we're explaining what's going on at the college, what the plans are, how we're going to achieve our goals. That's, I think, the key with development. So we can always get better at that. I think we can communicate better. Things like this are great. So I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, communication is so huge. And, on the alumni board, we have been really trying to work, and we hope to continue working with all of you on that aspect. Lirio, did you want to add something?
Well, I actually wanted to pivot a little bit to Randy and ask her something, which is that I know you haven't been at the college for years and years, but your first impressions, at least, of what are going to be the big challenges for you. And I know that I was actually a resident assistant when I was at Beloit, so it's particularly poignant for me to be able to talk to you. But there were a lot of challenges with the buildings, with the physical plant, the safety, all of those issues. I imagine some of those have not changed, and I imagine also that it's all gotten more expensive, right? So just wanted to get your sense of what are you faced with these days?
Yeah, that's a great question. Taking a look at some of the things that we had spent money on in the past and trying to save some money. So, for example, there's an online housing system that we hadn't really been using. And so we're not doing that anymore, and that saved us some money. So I'm really looking for ways that I can continue to do that. And that's myself and my operations coordinator, we've really looked at the budget and how we can save, still allowing the RAs to do the programs that they want to do, because I truly believe in retention and keeping people in the residence halls and having good quality programs. So as much as we can do on what little budget that we have, I think to be honest with you, I think it's a decent budget. I've worked at colleges that have less money. So I think the RAs are, yeah, exactly. So I think the RAs are making it work. And I was just talking about this with somebody tonight. Again, people don't, I've worked at many, many different colleges. Residence halls renovations is not a new thing. And there hasn't been a college that I've ever worked at that had perfect residence halls. I think the residence halls are really good, to be honest, with some other places that I've been at. Obviously, there are things that we can do to continue to improve them. And I think the Whitney renovation is a good start. But I really believe in working with what you have and just kind of like Tim Gunn on Project One Way, just make it work. And so that's kind of what we're doing. And I think we've been doing a really good job.
Very nice. You hit upon a point that I was going to ask about later, but since you mentioned it, you think that I'm delighted to hear that you think the residence halls are better than in some other places you've worked at. We're decades out from when I was an RA and lived in the residence halls. But to me now, it looks like, and for the last decade or so, that the residence halls have gotten more and more luxe. And, really sort of colleges have entered into almost an arms race, if you will, to see, what. And so I think, we've had alumni ask, why would I give to making this place so luxe, and can you sort of speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I love that question. So and people who work here have heard me say this a million times. I'm a strong proponent of Maslow, and I really believe in the hierarchy of the bottom being, your safety and belonging and security. And I really, really believe that if you don't have a good residence hall experience, you're not going to stay in school. And I really want it to be everybody's home away from home. And I'm a true believer of that. And one of the ways that we really want to make that work is with the renovations. And I know students who bring their whole life with them because they want their room to look exactly like it does at home. I think that's really very important. So to me, that very first initial meeting your roommate, seeing what your room looks like, knowing that you have the basic needs, you have a roof over your head, a shower that works, a toilet that flushes. It sounds so basic, but it's so true. It really makes a big difference. And so that's something I believe in very deeply.
That's wonderful. I'm thinking back when I came as a transfer student from India with 2 suitcases, and there were a couple of little pieces of things that my mother had sent along, and I put those up pathetically in my portion of the room. And then my roommate came in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin with a carload of stuff, and then she let me have some of that stuff. So
that's awesome.
It was great, but I'm just smiling thinking of that. Well, Linda, over back to you to see if you've got anything for Randy or Jane.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to my dorm experiences, which, as you can tell by my gray hair, were quite a while ago. But I wonder, how do you do now? This seems like maybe a silly question, but how do you do roommate matches? I got a roommate who I thought I had nothing in common with this person. What am I doing with her? I imagine you have some sort of system that you put in place that maybe works better now.
That's a great question. Since we don't have the like, there are a lot of schools that use something called StarRes or eRes or Adirondack. These are online housing applications. We don't use that, but admissions they use their program with Slate, where they have a list of questions. And this year I actually worked with Martha and with Kate to kind of go over those questions. And I added some things that I brought from my experience from other schools to make the best match possible. Does it work all the time? No. Is it perfect? No. But does it really help? Things such as, having a dirty room, or do you like a clean room? Do you like a little messy room? Do you like to study with music at night? What kind of music do you listen to? All those questions really do make a difference. And I really want the students to learn to live together and, to work, if there is an issue, that they talk to each other first, then go to their RA, then go to their RLC, and then it should come to me. So we're trying to make those room changes not a simple process. We really want them to work to, talk to each other. It was so different from when I was in college. You didn't have a computer. You didn't text message. You didn't AOL. You didn't do all these things. You had to actually have a conversation. And so I want students to get back to that. I've had situations where two students are in the same room, texting each other, not even talking to each other face to face. And we want to try and bring that back.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, we had a hall telephone.
Yes, so did I.
Note on your door.
Yeah.
So-and-so has called, or your mother has called. That was
yes.
Because you knew there was trouble brewing. Anyway, Dan, I don't want to make you feel alone out there.
Yeah.
We had a number of questions for you. I'm just really curious. What have been like maybe the most uplifting experiences you've had, from individual alumni or experiences with classes or something that really have impacted the way you feel about your position at the college, which is so critical. I taught at a university in New Jersey, and I know development is completely.
Yeah, a year ago, about this time, we do an event with the Channels program called Career Trek. Last year it was held in Madison, and this year it'll be in Milwaukee. But after the event, it was at a Madison, at a brew pub. We had rented the side room or whatever, and we were hanging around afterwards. And I was there with Professor Charles Westerberg, who's an alum, of course, and one of his alums was there that clearly had this mentorship relationship as a student, but as an adult, and is sitting there with his professor, and it was just, I was just the fly on the wall, just listening to that. It was a man. He would go a little bit back into student world, but then kind of pull himself out and be a peer with Charles. And I was so honored to be sitting there watching this, that this experience in the classroom that happened, 20 years ago was so meaningful, and they could continue to communicate. Those sort of relationships that are built with our faculty and staff are so fun to get to peek into in our world and development and alumni world. It's just it's an honor to be part of those conversations.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. I mean, I have remained friends. I'm fairly old, but I had a professor who was very young at the time, Dr. Nancy Neiman, whose father, I think, was on the board of trustees with her. And she and I are friends to this day. I did a sabbatical and stayed at her apartment in Madrid, and she's still highly connected to the college, I know. It's such a deep, wonderful thing that I'm very grateful to Beloit for. So I think that.
I didn't go to Beloit College, but I lived in Beloit my whole life, and a second father to me was Brock Spencer, our next door neighbor. So I grew up next to Brock and Barb Spencer. Brock taught at college in chemistry for 35 plus years. And so I've just always been, this Beloit College has always been in the background of my life. And you just would see these relationships that were built that are so incredible and so deep. And really, I'll pivot to what we're doing today, which is Giving Day in Whitney Hall. That is, it's not the luxe accommodations that we're building. We're really, bringing things back to a really basic, clean, updated way. What students deserve. So the mentorship and relationships can go. I mean, in some ways, what Randy and I do are like Office of Mission Support. We just want to create this playing field where these communities come together in the classroom, on the playing field, in the powerhouse, in C House, in your dorm room. That's what we want to do.
No, I mean, it really, to quote someone who, Hillary Clinton, it does take a village. I mean, it takes, if we can sustain, and to all of you listening in here, thank you for joining us. If we can sustain our connections and grow them, and the Alumni Board wants to really be highly involved in any ideas you have and bring to Dan and Randy, I'm sure we're all in. We're all in for Beloit, and really thrilled to have you here. Lirio?
Yeah, I echo your thoughts and sentiments there, and thank you to both our guests. I'm thinking we probably should wrap this up because, folks, it is getting on, and they were expecting an hour. So,
how about
before we do that,
final comment?
Before we do that, I just wanted to see if you had any final comments, Dan, and then Randy, and then Linda. Why don't you, sort of tell us why you give, and then I'll tell people why I give, and then we'll turn it over to our MC.
No, just thanks to the nearly 700 donors that have stepped up today alone. We get 7,000 donations a year. So we're just so honored to be the stewards of those resources and put them to work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Randy? Yeah, so I agree. And I didn't go to Beloit. I still made a donation. So I put that challenge out there.
Great.
Randy, you're from upstate New York.
Yes, ma'am.
I've lived in New Jersey for like 40 years. I know New Jersey's a joke, but I love upstate.
No, I love New Jersey.
Adirondacks.
Yes. I love Jersey too.
All right. Gonna have to separate you two over here. So Linda, tell us all why you give.
Well, it may sound kind of corny, but Beloit changed my life. I was this little sheltered Catholic girl from Milwaukee, and I had no clue. And I came, and I could have so easily. In fact, I thought about going to Madison, and I was terrified. So I chose Beloit. It's kind of how that happened. And I just. I found friendships, and then my professors, I majored in Spanish, and I became a professor of Spanish. So, I mean, I can't say enough about how they encouraged me. I did the Spanish seminar. I participated in all the activities they had, did my doctorate in Madison. And so Beloit changed my life so fundamentally, career-wise, and opening me up to the world. I really can't say enough. And to me, in life, and particularly at this stage of my life, when you have been given so much, it really is a responsibility to give back. And that's what I want to do and keep doing for Beloit.
And that's so interesting because you had a similar experience coming from Milwaukee as I did from Calcutta, India, right? It's a city of 14 million people. And here I was, this sheltered little Indian girl that came in, and I didn't want to go to a big school either. I wanted to go to a small school. And here I was in Beloit, Wisconsin, and the professors took such a keen interest and, personally helped me on weekends. I mean, Jeff Adams sat and taught me Minitab. Econ majors out there, you'll know what I'm talking about from the 80s anyway, not anymore. And, it's a way that I feel it really got me started. And I just don't know how I can ever give back. So I just pay the aloha forward and hope that somehow that will help somebody else as well. So with that, we're looking forward to seeing how this day ends with what we end up. And I'm going to send it back over. Thank you very much to our guests.
Yes, thank you so much.
And aloha, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Dan and Randy. Good to see you, Dan. I tell you what, it has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I want to thank everyone for joining us, and for those who get the opportunity to watch the recording. You always have the opportunity to support Beloit. Of course, our special drive this evening is for the Res Hall Rehab, specifically Whitney. And at the moment, we are at 691 donors, just under $600,000. And I just put in the chat over here on the StreamYard, but there is a new challenge that just came in from Bob Hunter, class of 76. He'll give an additional $12,000 if we meet our participation goal. And we're about 400 shy of that. So we have just a few more hours here. If you have friends who you can email or chat with, it would be much appreciated. I know I put a matching gift in for my class. Cameron did. There's several of them on the website. I just posted that website again in the chat over on the YouTube channel. And you can just Google Beloit College Giving Day, and it comes up right there. Absolutely want to thank Lucy Gray, for coming and knocking this out of the park. We're all kind of rookies here on this platform, and she coached us and cajoled us through this. I want to thank Tim, Cameron, Linda, and Lirio for participating as interviewers, and certainly again Randy, Dan, and excuse me, and of course our new president Eric Boynton for joining us tonight and sharing some really great insight on why it is important to sustain Beloit and the great things that we're doing there. So with that, we're gonna roll into a little parting something for you all. Do look forward to seeing you all soon on campus. Look on the Beloit College website. Hope to see you at Beloiter Days or Homecoming or some of the other events that are coming on. If you're interested in participating as alumni, we are always looking for people to participate at events as well as join the alumni board. We like to get representation across the eras, and certainly it's a lot of fun being involved and getting an opportunity to interact with the campus live, as well as interacting with our alumni base and sharing the great stories and the great story that is Beloit College. So we look forward to seeing you too. Lucy, if you want to go ahead and share that over, we'll go ahead and get this ball rolling. We'll say good night to everyone. Something for you from the coffee house at closing time. And again, thank you all. Big special thanks to DC and all the team here from the alumni board who joined us tonight. All the best to everyone. Be well. Remember, we got a few hours left here. If we could get another 400 donors, we can get another $12,000 for Whitney Hall. So thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Enjoy some modern English. I don't want to dance. But I will if I have to.
So many memories.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Love this song. Although we should be playing Frank Zappa.
Trapped in a state of imaginary grace. I made a pilgrimage to save this human race. Never comprehending the race that long gone by. I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. stop the world. I'll stop the world and melt with you. The future's open wide. I'll stop the world and melt with you. And stop the world. I've seen some changes, but it's getting better. Let's stop the world. There's nothing you and I won't do. Let's stop the world. I'll stop the world and melt with you. The future's open wide. I'll stop the world and melt with you. Stop the world. You've seen the difference and it's getting better. Always stop the world. There's nothing you and I won't do. Let's stop the world. I'll stop the world and melt with you. Let's stop the world. I'll stop the world and melt with you. Let's stop the world. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Hey, good night, everybody. Thanks again.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.